Our squad was allowed 1 week off of work and attended Travis's funeral. Burying a fellow officer and friend was one of the hardest things I've ever done. After Travis's funeral, I went back to work. I no longer had a partner to ride with. The passenger seat was now empty. I'd like to share with you what it was like working after Travis was killed and how it affected me personally. Every shift I had tremendous amounts of anxiety. If I was another officer's backup, I feared something bad was going to happen, and that I wouldn't going to get there in time. I felt guilty that I survived that night and Travis did not. I feel guilty that I couldn't save Travis's life. I continued to work as a police officer for 3.5 years after his death. Becoming a police officer was a lifelong dream of mine. I went to college, I got a degree in criminal justice, I moved out of state. In 2013, I resigned from the job I loved. It is with great honor to share with you the type of police officer Travis was. To be a police officer takes great courage, integrity, and pride. Travis possessed all of these virtues. Travis was very thorough with his investigations. He did not believe in shortcuts. He always did the right thing. He was compassionate, smart, athletic. Travis loved his job. He loved helping others and trying to make our world a better place. Travis gave his own life to protect me and the community that night. Travis was the kind of police officer every department would want their officers to strive to be. Travis was a man of faith, one of God's nicest leaders. This made him a target for the enemy to want to destroy. The defendant, Danny Martinez, shot and killed Officer Travis Murphy. Police officers are protectors against the evil that exists today. As a former police officer and friend of Travis, I ask that you sentence Danny Martinez to the highest punishment possible today. Life in prison without parole. Your Honor, sentencing Danny Martinez to life without the possibility of parole is hope for me, hope for our officers who are out there every day risking their lives, that they are not alone. The general public will be a safer place if Danny Martinez is never allowed outside of prison walls. Even if Danny Martinez says he has remorse, which I personally do not believe he does, there are consequences to his selfish and evil actions. Again, Your Honor, thank you for this time.
Thank you.
Jackie, if you could let her know who everybody is.
Good afternoon. I am Sergeant Jackie Wagner with the Police Department. On May 26, 2010, I was a supervisor for the 72 King Squad. These gentlemen, Officer Haida, Sergeant Sund, Officer Backus, Officer Owner, and Officer Brunac, along with Officer Meister, were some of the officers that were part of our family. I would like to express a few thoughts on behalf of them and myself. God's will is not the path. God's will is not the path that we follow. Rather, how we walk that path. God's will is not an event that happens to us. It is how we react to what happens. Everyone has challenges. Bad things happen. What makes you a survivor and a better person is whether you see that the things that you do are wrong, do not make excuses, and choose to make bad decisions because of those excuses, rather than make those actions reasons for making the right decisions in your life. To the prosecution, I would ask that our prosecution team search themselves and ask, did I do all that I could do to bring justice. Do things right because it's the right thing to do. It's never easy, but it matters. I thank you for your work. I thank you for their compassion that they've shown with the family. This has not been an easy task for them. For the defense, the legal games and antics witnessed through this trial have made a mockery of our judicial system, their profession, and themselves. The re-victimization of this family, the community, by their actions and words, was unnecessary. I believe that they have lowered the credibility of their profession, their lack of ethics and morals. This, in our minds, puts them in the same category as the defendant. To the defendant, it has been discussed.
I would ask that you just address me, not the defendant, but not the defense lawyers.
It has been discussed through this trial since his childhood and up to including the night that he decided to murder Travis Murphy, that he has made pathetic choices with his life. He committed heinous crimes and has been given the benefit of leniency from the court on many occasions. His actions were irrevocable consequences for many people whose lives that have been traumatically affected by his choices. No words, whether heartfelt or not, spoken or not, but I believe could ever repay the damages done. No gesture short of the death that will never come at the hand of a law could close or could cause the atonement for killing Travis Murphy. As he enjoys each breath that he takes right now and for the rest of his life, I personally will remember watching Travis struggle for his last breaths. He will enjoy his family, his children, camaraderie of people of the same caliber of himself, even if it's behind prison walls. Travis never has that again. Travis Murphy was a father, son, husband, brother, and also a police officer. This is not just a job. We are family. You hurt one, you hurt them all. I truly hope that he could recognize his actions to have wide consequences and take responsibility for them before he is accountable by God. The law may have failed, God will not. Your Honor, we thank the court for your time and consideration in every step of this process. We realize there may have been mistakes made that tie your hands to the extent of what the defendant can be held accountable for. However, we plead with the court to impose the most extreme punishment legally allowed. This defendant not seeing true justice, however, we beg that your decision is to ensure that he will never again walk as a free man, will never be allowed to harm anyone again. Our society deserves this. Thank you for your time. Thank you, gentlemen.
Mrs. Murphy's sister.
Yes, ma'am. My name's Amber Jones. I'm Danielle Murphy's sister, and Travis is my brother-in-law. And I wrote out what I was going to say because I'm high on emotion today, so bear with me here. It's been 5 years, 11 months, and 10 days since the hospital called time of death of my brother-in-law was shot by this man. 4 years, 10 months, and 28 days after that, this trial began. A year and 13 days after the start of the trial, we sit here today. Line of duty. That's how Travis died. In the line of duty. It was his duty to try to protect, to try and keep safe. He was in uniform that night, performing the job, an honorable job. He was shot multiple times, enough times that they couldn't stop the bleeding to save his life in the hospital. I'm not God. I don't choose who lives and dies. The law is the law, and it's made for a purpose. He broke that law. He murdered my brother-in-law. He murdered my sister's husband and her very best friend. He murdered my niece and nephew's father. Travis could be anything that he wanted to be. He chose to be a police officer. He chose to put his life in danger to protect the streets of Arizona, to protect the families that lived on those streets and the kids that were raised on those streets. This guy, he chose a job trying to protect innocent people. And this guy chose to kill. He chose to kill an amazing man, a kind man, a husband, a father, a son, a brother, and a friend. That was his choice. And with that choice, so much has happened. 2-week-old little boy got passed arm to arm while family cried and prepped for funeral, memorials, and for life. Instead of being held and sung to by his mom and dad and older sister in the comfort of their home. A little boy and a little girl played their very first sports, confused and lost because they didn't have a daddy at home to practice with them. A little girl was forced, also blessed, but forced to take 2 papas to her very first daddy-daughter dance because she didn't have one, and she was faced with questions of why. Why is she so different from all her friends? A wife spent every single birthday and every anniversary at a gravesite with flowers and balloons, talking to a headstone with a picture on it. Mom and dad, my mom and dad, laid in bed so many nights bawling at the fact that their little girl's best friend was taken from her, and there was nothing that they could do about it. And I watched my sister, my soulmate, my very best friend, lose it all. Her world was flipped completely upside down that day. I held her in my arms so many times that her legs gave out and her body shook unconditionally. All of her dreams shattered, and that day I lost her. I lost such a big piece of my big sister. All of us have been doing this courtroom every single day, standing by my sister, supporting her. Every morning we wake up, we get ready, we drop off our kids, we meet at her house, and we drive down here together. Not because we're forced to or because we have to, but because we are all that we have now. When we're police have barbecues, when we're watching our kids play, this has become our life. Coming here and looking at Travis's murder every single day. It's changed us. How could it not? Each and every one of us has replaced some kind of joy or laughter with anger and tears. Each and every one of us are fearful for our lives and for our kids' lives because we're sure there's another murderer out there that just shoots and doesn't think. For me personally, I've probably taken it hardest. I'm not sure if it's because of how close I am to Danielle. I'm not sure if it's because I'm the youngest. I'm not sure if it's because of the compassionate side that I have. It's been really hard. I actually had to stop coming down here. I became super angry and closed off to the world. I couldn't make sense of why this was happening to my sister and to her kids and to our family. I struggled understanding all of it. I became distant and closed off to the world. I became depressed, and I lost all my faith in God. I attended a cops retreat and tried to connect with other survivors of fallen police officers. I attended my own personal counseling just to try to see the light again. I was in the darkest place in my life for about a year, and I literally could not even find a reason to live anymore. Thank God I was able to see the light again. I reconnected with God and my family, and I have a new outlook at life. I still believe that all of this is in God's hands. Travis's murder will have to answer to someone higher than you or me someday. I just want this man, this dangerous man that shoots before he thinks, that's been in the system for longer than he's been out of it. This bad guy, I just want him off the streets forever. No more excuses about what the system hasn't done to help him. No more excuses about not knowing right from wrong. No more excuses about his upbringing. This man, he's 36-year-old. He's not a child. He makes his own choices, and I want this man off the streets, where my kids are. I want this man to be locked up without any chance of ever feeling freedom, because his freedom is scary. The choices he makes with his freedom, it wrecks lives. His freedom has wrecked mine and my family's lives, and now we are all that we have. So, Judge, I ask you, please, sentence this man to life with no possibility for parole. Please stack the charges that he's been convicted of on top of that life, so that he has no chance of ever being free again. Don't give him the chance to hurt someone else. Don't give him the chance to turn another innocent family's life upside down. And give my family the peace of mind that he will no longer be a burden on our lives, but that we can try to close this door and rebuild our family. Please help remove the burden on my family of attending and fighting to keep the defendant in DOC at the parole board hearing in 25 years, as this would just open up all the wounds again, and it could eventually fall on my sweet, sweet niece and nephew. Nothing will ever bring Trav back, but please put a stop to this nightmare that we've been living for 2,172 days when we lost him. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm Troy Campbell. I'm Danielle's brother and Amber's brother. I have some personal thoughts that don't reflect on anyone but myself. As I've actually been asked about a lot of this stuff to not, maybe to cut back or lean back on, because I do have very strong feelings, that a lot of anger, and it comes from the pain that's felt by my family and friends. From this whole situation, my wife does her best to rein me in. She's been very strong throughout this whole situation, and I'm very thankful for her. But I do have some feelings, some things that I need to get off my chest, and I'd like just a few minutes of your time. I really appreciate this. Travis has a baby, goes back to work 2 weeks later. 2-week-old baby does not have a father anymore. That's basically sums it up. You've heard all the details over and over and over, you know very well. The whole court does. When I was at work, I'm a firefighter. I got a call on the dispatcher, go to St. Joe's Hospital. I got a fire truck, went over there because my brother-in-law had been shot in the leg, they said, and that he was probably going to be okay, but I need to get over there as soon as I can. I get there, my chiefs are there, fire chiefs, a couple of them are there, and that's how we are. Boys in blue, we stick together, and we're all a big family, fire department and police, and that was why they were there ready for me. I walked in, and Danielle was there too. They got her there quick. I don't know how she got from surprise to there in about 10 minutes, but she made it really there. About 20, 30 minutes later, the surgeon was already coming out to talk to us. I know as being a paramedic that that's very bad news. There's no way. He's already fixed, and they're good to go, that he didn't survive this surgery. Mayor Gordon sat on the floor with us, and he was in jogging shorts, I remember, and I still remember the night very well. I was sitting on the floor with my sister. She just said over and over, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get by without Travis? How do I do this on my own? I tried to reassure that she's not alone, that we're all in this together, we're family, and we honestly are very close. You can see we're always here in court together. We try to hold each other up and try to maintain through this whole situation. It was really neat, in a way, as awesome and terrible of a day it was. The line of duty funeral was the most amazing thing I'd seen. Like this Officer Wagaman said, there was just people lining the streets for miles and miles, and support, citizens supporting us. And they all knew what a great hero he was, and that we lost Plea and the Hunter Club have come together, just so many groups to try to assist with the funeral and everything. It was really, really neat. But what they didn't see was I was in a limo while my sister's breastfeeding a 2-week-old baby and didn't even look out the window, didn't see all the support. She couldn't. She was just totally distraught and broken down from this. Nobody sees the inside of it, you know. They don't see the Christmases where she's sitting on the floor crying because she can't find a spatula or something, and she's breaking down crying here and there, just didn't want to do her Christmas lights, and just miserable for years and years. It's gotten a little better, but it's not any better. It's not the same. It never will be. And my main concern is that this guy isn't getting the death penalty. It concerns me. I feel like the system has failed us. Not necessarily you, Judge. I feel like, Judge, you've been amazing. I'll get to all the things that I'm thankful for that you've done and that I've noticed and I appreciate. But, I mean, we're in this court on and off for months and months of downtime. The system drags it out through weeks and weeks. The defense and their shenanigans, it's ridiculous. And that's just jury selection. I'm not even talking about the whole 6 years we've been doing this. That was jury selection. That's when I was fed up. I could see that there's no remorse in the murderer's eyes. He had a chance to step out, plead guilty, be a man, and admit what he did, and he didn't do that. He just said not guilty, and hey, let's go to a 6-year trial. So why would he? He never did stand up for and be a man in the past. He's got a big old felony rap sheet. I'm going to take a minute to talk about some of the things that he's done in the past. Robbery, felony robbery. Got aggravated assault in Tucson, 1998.
Your Honor, excuse me, we need to approach on this before we go any further. It's confidential. He shouldn't even have a copy of that. How did he get a copy of that?
Is that the confidential section of the pre-sentence report which outlines the criminal history?
I don't know.
I mean, if
I can see it.
For memory from the court.
That he should not have.
that agreed.
Okay.
So he needs to turn it into
If that's the
and
confidential,
stop talking about it.
hold on. If that's the confidential section of the pre-sentence report, then that shouldn't be disseminated. You can keep.
He didn't give it to me, but
You can keep talking.
all right. From memory, felony rap sheet, drugs.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to him talking about it from memory. He shouldn't have had it to have it memorized.
I was in court.
Hold on. you need to talk.
Sorry, ma'am. I was in court, so I heard it.
Attached to the pre-sentence report, anybody, the counsel would be free to talk about it. The prior criminal history in the courtroom. So you can go ahead and keep speaking.
I think we spent about 4 hours looking at it. It was up on this board, and you are not going to address them. The defense pointed each and everything out. We talked about each and everything. Our prosecutors also talked about each and everything. Things that he pled guilty to and didn't plead guilty to, plea bargained out of. He had 3 DUIs, one of which he weaseled out of somehow by going in and pleading guilty to it real quick before he got sentenced. And from what I understand, he would have still been in jail when he killed Travis Murphy. Instead, he pleaded out by going in early and saying, okay, I want to plead guilty to this and not this, and they plea bargained him out of it, so he got all of that. That's just one of the reasons I'm not happy with our judicial system, and that's one of the examples I'd like to give. Then he gets married, and nearly 2 weeks later, he wants to drive around in his daddy's car recklessly and going to nudie bars in his dad's Mustang when he got spotlighted by the police. When he gets arrested after he shoots and kills my brother-in-law, he spits at nurses and firefighters and has to have a spit bag on his face. He punched the dog that was trying to bring him out to arrest him. Tried to assault that's a police officer as far as I'm concerned. Caesar, great dog, I pet him, nice dog. The defense attorney doesn't want pictures of him holding the ball or whatever. I remember her arguing that, oh, he just looks like a happy puppy, but he bites people, blah, blah, blah. Well, he does his job. He's a police officer. So that was interesting. The firefighter was trying to help him. I personally talked to them, and the murderer was spitting at them and fighting with them the entire time. The sex offender was having phone sex just hours after talking to the police about his murder. He was talking on the phone with his wife, having phone sex. That's the type of person this man is. He's also looking for a scapegoat. He mentioned a few other murders or bodies that he could snitch to save himself. So this rapist is also trying to get himself out of getting in trouble and trying to get himself out of the death penalty. He's worried about dying. So, man, did I want the death penalty for this guy. I think he's really earned it. For a total of 6 years, he'll sit here quietly in his court proceedings while he strolls in. He wears his suit, rubbing elbows with the other defense attorneys, smirks at us, ear to ear, smiles every time, talking with his family like he's not supposed to be, selfishly wasting everyone's time and tax dollars. He has absolutely no value to society. He's a hindrance, a problem, a drain, and a leech. He's been a burden to the justice system, obviously. How many times has he been in and out of jail? I don't know, but from memory, about 11 years of his 30 years on this earth before the murder. That's a good amount of time. He was just in and out of jail, and then he says, oh, I'm going to go to some counseling. Oh, it didn't work. I'm going to write the judge a letter so I can get out. He just gets out of things over and over and over. He just constantly, jail just is not working for him. Life in jail may be a good answer for him. The bottom line is I think that folks believe that taxpayers should babysit this guy using police, judges, jail, probationary officers, and they should raise him and take care of him and teach him how to be a good guy, not family, friends, or upbringing. That's a big concern of mine. Let me tell you about the 6 years we were in court. We had a rights specialist making $400 an hour from I don't know where, flying in to talk for 2 straight days, 8-hour days, about lights and luminance and reflections and, oh my gosh, trying to discredit the police who did a great job. The angle of the moon, family member witnesses, making excuses for him. Oh, here's a list of excuses. He was on drugs. He had a head injury. Well, we did a CAT scan and it came up, didn't prove anything. We had a whole couple hours looking at his poopy underwear and pants with fecal matter, and for some reason it was part of the evidence. We got to delve into that and why it was in the trash or why it wasn't in the trash or why it was not taking pictures of and this, or why there were pictures of it and not samples and this and that. It was just drawn out. Some of the worst part of this 6-year court debauchery was a dummy of my brother with arrows sticking through it that the defense attorney dragged around the room and stuck arrows to show the trajectory of the bullets. Or pictures of my dead brother. Autopsy pictures of his dead body. Pictures of bloodstains that I still can't get out of my head. Things you can't unsee. I know I chose to be here. It was to support my sister, but just the description of a 2-hour painful death where he bled out is not something I'll ever forget. Somewhere in there we lost one of our lawyers. We had 2 lawyers to bounce ideas off of, to bring new ideas to, and that's a whole other subject, but we lost one of our lawyers, so I felt like that was a leg taken out from under us. Vince did a great job, both Vinces, but I really do appreciate the job that Vince did to finish up by himself. He's amazing. He put in some long hours. And then they have to listen to this defense attorney every time the jury leaves the room. she has a sick cat or a leaky roof, or there's too many cops in the room. I don't want to see a sea of blue. That's unfair. Well, they're all his brothers, and they wanted to be there to hear what was going on with their brother, Travis Murphy. And she kept saying, I get it, I get it. Well, you don't get it. She did not get it. She doesn't understand. She didn't have a brother-in-law shot in the line of duty. She didn't have a brother shot. She's here for a paycheck, and that's about it. When we went to do a victim statement, she stood up here and tilted her little glasses down and spoke over her glasses and said that she didn't want a picture of the kids at the gravesite because that was unfair. It's unfair. Well, that's where they spend their dad's birthday now. That's where Father's Day is spent. And that's a fact. And that is because her client shot him and killed him. The other one says that the look that he gave my client is the look you would give before a bar fight, or before you want to fight someone in a bar. When they say that they would love to talk to us and explain their side, I don't have any interest in talking to them. I will never acknowledge their responses, or I don't want to ever talk to the defense, by the way. Let's see, what else did we go to court for? We listened to a third grade teacher that hasn't seen him in 20 years. She sat on this bench and talked about what a great little guy he was in third grade. That's really interesting to me. That is ridiculous that we sat through an hour or two of that. His sister, friends, mother, father, wife, all drawn out for months and months and months. We looked at a map of where they all live in Tucson. Well, which corner was yours? I think I've seen the map 25 times. I could picture it in my head right now. The thing is they all contributed to his failure as a human being. This rapist murderer, they all made him. In a way, they all are the reason he is the way he is. They're the reason he's back here smoking when my sister was talking just a few minutes ago. And when he tried to stand up and give his half-hearted, obviously scripted apology, I wanted to say, I do not forgive you, and life in prison is too good for you. This is injustice for all the victims, but not just them. There's peace officers that deserve justice. They deserve for him to have life in prison. His mom, Mary, deserves for him to have life in prison. His brother, his friends that he played basketball with, his buddies, his squad, everyone. Not to mention the future police officers that are out there risking their lives. If they get shot, the guy might get, prison with some parole. Apparently now we don't do death penalty. Now it's gone down to prison with. Society is going the wrong way. It's swinging the wrong direction. Is my personal opinion. I just hope that some folks are out there see the pain that they caused and the anger that there is, and they learn from these multitude of mistakes. Maybe a member with a problem trial will take some action before it turns into something like this. Turn him around. Instead of making excuses for him, enabling him, and hoping that society raises their kids, hoping that the justice system takes care of it. Well, that's not the way to go. I obviously place a lot of blame on the parents and family that raised a murderer. They neglected to teach him right from wrong, and simply stating in their own words they couldn't control him. Well, control your kid. Start out early, and it's a lot easier to raise a good kid than to fix a broken teenager. So they're trying to fix a grown man now that's in his 30s, and it's pretty hard to do. I don't think this guy's fixable, so life in prison is definitely what I recommend. I believe we're all social humans. Human beings are all social beings that should bring each other up, help each other out, learn from our mistakes, step in and stop someone that's doing the wrong thing or going down the wrong path. It takes a village. It really does. I'm not the best parent. I have a lot to learn. I'm actually I learn every day. I have a lot to learn. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and you know what? My kids, my niece Kaylee, my nephew Cody, will not go to jail for 15 different things for 12 years at a time, because the minute they get out of jail, even for a month, if they did get in trouble, I would be there to stop that behavior and move forward. I will intervene. And there's plenty of folks in that neighborhood from that map that have flourished. They've gone on to be doctors. They've gone on to, some of them have become police officers. It doesn't mean just because you live in that neighborhood that you're going to be a murderer, because you saw a dead body when you were a kid, that you're going to be a murderer. Another excuse of why he was a murderer. The difference between this criminal, this rapist, DUI, murderer, and my brother-in-law is a legacy that each of them has left behind. Basically, Martinez's life is over. He's no longer a father, at least. He won't raise his kid. He won't see him that often. You know, that kid's probably going to find another dad and call him dad. He's just going to wear that same outfit every day, that black and white outfit, sleep in his little mattress, wake up and sit on his metal toilet, and be a hero for the other losers in prison until he dies in the infirmary of a prison. I think maybe he could learn some remorse, maybe not. But I'm not sure how prison is going to teach a rapist snitch, or how they're going to treat him. Hopefully, they treat him accordingly. However, Travis's legacy, he's going to live on in all of our hearts as a peace officer who filled a stadium full of people that were there for his funeral. They lined miles of the street, supporting citizens, thankful that he was on this earth. Parents holding their kids up to praise a superstar, a hero. Little kids drew these handmade signs that were so cool. People came out and washed cars to raise money for the Hunting Club, for other fallen officers. Recruits will hear his story and learn from it. He's in the history books already. A sign in South Phoenix, a permanent etching in a memorial full of heroes in Washington, D.C., in Phoenix, right across the street over here. We appreciate the help and all the hard work from Aaron, Chris, Loretta. So I'm going to miss everyone. I'm not going to miss the all eyes from Loretta, unfortunately, but I do appreciate her helping my mom with her hearing and stuff. Detective Butcher, Detective Martin, and we judge for writing in what could have even been worse of a long, drawn-out period of time in our lives that was hell on day one. Vince put in hours and hours of time and hard work. I feel like he didn't just do his job as a prosecutor, he was also a friend to all of us, a family member. He went above and beyond to talk to us each and every time we went back in the room, because we were confused of why it's dragging out and what's going on, and he was really a great guy. I'm thankful for Vince and Vince. And thank you to all the women in blue and men in blue all over the world for the sacrifices that they make every time they kiss their kids goodbye. It could be the last time they see them. They're going to be good role models for the children on this earth. And I also want to thank the 9 jury members that had the courage to stand up and deliver the death penalty verdict. I'm very thankful for them to have that courage and do the right thing. It meant a lot to me that it probably was very hard to do, but all of the jurors said that they were able to do that if the circumstances were correct, which I believe were above and beyond correct for the death penalty. But the ones that were here that did the right thing, I really do appreciate that. If I offend anyone, I make no apologies. You're most likely part of the problem. This grew from a lot of pain, seeing my sisters, my mom, dad, my wife, Travis's mom go through this every birthday for Travis, every holiday. He loves St. Patrick's Day, every Christmas, every family get-together. There's just a piece missing. And that area was built for 6 years, so I do apologize to you, Judge, if I was a little outspoken. I played by the rules for 6 years. We were told, if we do this part, it's going to avoid appeals in the long run. If we do this long, silly part, it's going to avoid appeals. Months and months I was told that. I was told years and years I've been told that. And now here we are. We play by the rules. As far as I'm concerned, either won the battle. Please don't let them win the war. Set us, the victims, free from this sentence. This 6-year sentence we've endured. We have different sentences. This is the one that we've endured that you can help us with. The one without Travis is another one, but this one, you can do something about. You can give life without parole. You have that ability. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Court.
Mr. Umber, do you know how many more people do you have that would like to?
3.
3? I'm going to go ahead and just take like a 15-minute break. So we will reconvene at...
No, I think there was some